what is exactly the difference in your work between the US and Europe? How do you work differently?
I think the only difference in the process is the deal making. Truly, it's all a creative process, but when it comes to the deal making, there's different stipulations with Europe, and if they follow the American SAG or AFTRA deals.
I could imagine that sometimes maybe European producers also, when they cast internationally, are maybe a little bit worried or looking more for local casting directors. So how did you find each other?
So an example, Dancer in the Dark, we were lucky, I was lucky to work with Vivica for 4 or 5 films maybe. Lars von Trier was the director and I never met him. Everything was by the phone, and so it was Vivica that was really, her presence was so important. She was aware of the actors. I mean, I would send Lars tapes and we would really carry on over the phone. Most of the time I do meet the directors in person, whether they fly to New York. But in that case, it was sending a lot of readings and tapes.
I worked with Lars von Trier, and in Denmark, or maybe in Europe, we think that Lars von Trier is very famous, but not necessarily in Hollywood. And we wanted actors, American actors, so it wasn't so easy that I could just call an agent and say, hi, I want an actor for Lars von Trier, and they would probably not even know who he was. So it was very important for me that I had Avi, and we had a joke that was like, I would call Avi, and Avi would call the agent and say that I was really a nice guy, and I was really nice to the actors, and I would behave really well, and the director was a genius, and he might have a bad reputation, but he was really okay, and I would always be there. And then I would call the agent and tell them all the stories I knew about how Lars could also be really, really nice. And once we agreed on that Lars was really, really nice, and maybe the actor would be in the movie and they wouldn't be paid very much, then the lawyer called. But I would say, I don't think we would ever have made the cast we had without Avi's interference and all her help, and all the smaller part. We could never have, I mean, we got fantastic actors, and Lars never watched American movies, or hardly ever, and if he does, probably really bad ones. And I wouldn't say I was a specialist either, so it was really, really good. We had Avi who could come up with really good ideas.
Of course, when you're from Europe and you're calling, I mean, agents, I mean, they probably never call back, you know, I imagine. How does this work? Because you said producers sometimes are afraid because of the different territories, maybe the different accents, yeah? How does it work from your perspective? If you want to shoot an English language film and you're not a native speaker English as a producer, so you're totally relying on the casting director, how would you proceed something like this? Or how would you convince, for example, the director and producer not to be afraid but to trust you completely?
I think some producers and directors are worried or concerned that when a foreign actor comes in for one of their movies and they have to concentrate on speaking English, it's going to take away from the performance, because they're so conscious of that versus just letting the performance come out. So I think that if everybody could speak their own language or with their own accent, it would be great. It's just not the way it's done in the most popular way.
When you cast a film, you try to find people that can, copy a certain accent, or yeah.
Well, a lot of times I'll have an actor, if he has I have him do it in his own language first, just so you can feel comfortable doing it. You don't have to think about your accent, and then. Perhaps if they're cast, I don't know, we all probably do it the same or different. I've asked directors to give a movie, like, how exactly do you want them to sound? And they have dialect coaches, but often hearing a movie and hearing the certain accent seems to help. But I don't think many people feel comfortable watching a movie with a lot of different accents. And so even with the Shooting Stars, so many have, everyone's speaking English. I'm so impressed. I'm so embarrassed that I don't speak another language. But, you know, to brush up on their English is important, unfortunately.
Yeah.